summer.
We're out.
John, we'll keep doing this all summer.
Yeah, all right.
We've done
You
perfect.
did well. Really well.
I will talk as fast as I can.
We need a little music or something, you know?
You could hum it, you could sing it to him.
No, Bill, thank you.
You like the pregame show or something.
Something, I mean, with FIFA and everything else going on, it
Yeah.
seems a little boring.
Yeah. Do you wanna do the Norwegian road?
That's okay too, Mary Ann, thank you, though.
You sure?
That'd be cool during the vote.
Right?
The clock is on.
Yeah. At least 2 minutes, right? 2 minutes.
I have 26.
Yeah.
I don't know why we don't fix that.
Put that on your list, Bill, for IT improvement.
Oh, yeah.
Is Ross coming?
I don't know, he didn't tell me he wasn't. Would you like me to call him?
I don't know if it's that necessary, I don't think. Maybe he.
Is Ross coming?
There he is.
Am I late?
Oh, not at all.
Quiet
Russ.
room made me nervous, my
Yeah.
goodness.
Just
Yeah,
that
3
you're
minutes to
last.
spare.
Yeah.
Highly anticipated.
3 minutes to spare.
Happy to be here.
There you go. We're happy you're here, Bill. And we're more happy that Karen didn't have to call you.
Me too.
It should be out there in the seats. That team in the national we seem to enjoy the World Cup as much or more than anybody else.
You see the little clips that he's doing?
Oh, yeah. That's a
Shirt.
shirt.
And then he had something like a burrito pizza or something, and he's like, this is the best thing I've ever had in my life. I'm like, ooh,
How
you
can you go
must be
wrong there?
really bad. Really bad. Yeah, it was like, he had a great time.
Oh, he did. He
He
seemed
had
to
a
enjoy himself.
great time.
Oh, that's
And very talented. His parents,
Oh, yeah, his father was on the team 30 years ago.
wasn't he?
His brother was a phenomenal athlete too.
And I think his sisters,
All right.
yeah, remarkable.
Won't like us.
Yeah, I know.
I'm doing it. I don't want to get in trouble. Okay, it's 7:30.
Okay.
Good evening and welcome everyone. I hereby call to order the scheduled planning board meeting on July 20th, 2026. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I hereby announce that this meeting is being held in accordance with Chapter 231 of the Open Public Meeting Act. Proper notice of meeting dates has been given to the Morris Newsbeat and Morris County Daily Record and posted on the bulletin board in the Borough Hall. This meeting is a judicial proceeding. Any questions or comments must be limited to issues that are relevant to what the board may legally consider in reaching a decision, and a decorum appropriate to a judicial hearing must be maintained at all times. Notice to members of the planning board and borough staff, any use of electronic devices during this meeting shall be used solely for the purposes of borough business. Karen, roll call, please.
Mr. Wolf,
Yes.
Mr. Malkier,
Here.
Mr. Bezel,
Here.
Mrs. Stecker,
Present.
Mr. Cianciata,
Present.
Mr. Houston,
Present.
Mayor Carr,
Here.
Mrs. McCluskey,
Here.
and Mr. Gravaglia.
Okay, just a note, we are gonna change the old business and new business. We're gonna flip them around so the Tabor Road people can get out of here when we're done, before we're done. Approval of minutes, June 15th, 2026. The board members have received a copy of the minutes. Does anyone have any additions or corrections after review? I'll take that as none.
Very good.
Is there a motion to approve these minutes?
So moved. Second.
Okay, was it Miss?
Mary
Mrs.
Ann and
Stecker?
Sue.
Okay.
Karen, roll call.
Mr. Wolf,
Yes.
Mr. Malkier,
Yes.
Mr. Bezel,
Yes.
Mrs. Stecker,
Yes.
Mr. Cianciata,
Yes.
Mr. Houston.
Yes.
Mayor Carr.
Yes.
Mrs. McCluskey.
Yes.
Are there any comments from the public?
I just have a question, very quick question. Is there any update on the Rivian application that you all approved? Has the mayor, have you heard anything, or has anybody else on the board heard anything about the status of that application? A lot of residents are curious what's gonna go in there and what's the status.
You need to say your name and address for the.
Oh, I'm
record.
sorry, I
Yeah.
apologize. Rob Mackler, 2 Maple Ave. McAlear.
I think that what was stated at the Thursday night's council meeting, I think you were present there, that I'm authorized to sign the developers agreement when the attorneys get that together. That's the last piece of the puzzle, so I'm waiting on that.
So can you just explain a little more about the developers agreement, just for the public?
It's really what's in the resolution. Andy could probably explain a little bit better what's in there. It's just, it's a guideline for the developer.
Sure, when there's an application that will touch some public property or improvements, or involve the public, like with construction activities and things like that, or have easements or other things on which not just the board is giving approval, but will impact, a lot of times, resolution, and this resolution was conditioned on, there has to be the execution of a developer's agreement between the developer and the municipality. And so that's outside, yes, they have to make sure that they can construct it and don't interfere with traffic.
Sure.
Or they pay for things, or they give an easement, and I don't know all the terms, because that's between the borough and the developer. But those things are being negotiated. I know John Moran was involved a bit, and I guess that's moving along, but that's, that has to be done. I think it's pretty close, but that's about it.
Okay, great. And then I just have one other question. So, Mayor, you said that the affordable housing agreement was finished, right?
Correct.
Okay. So I was reading the legal brief on that, and I noticed that one of the sort of weak points of our case was that we put in a lot of open space lots very late. There was a criticism that we added maybe 78 or so open space lots very late in the process. And I did a little bit of research, and I noticed that some of those lots have been open space since the late 1980s or early 1990s. And so I'm glad that it all worked out, but it seems like a little bit of an oversight to me. So I was wondering if we could get,
No, it's not an oversight.
I'm sorry, could I just finish? So I was wondering if we could just get some sort of process in place to make sure something like that doesn't happen again.
No, well, the reason that happened is because
Jason, just put this.
the state, the state mandates these things, and then we're required to fight what the state is just telling us what to do, okay? So they identified parcels of property that were either private property, VFW property, parks, open space that's already there, that we had to go with our engineers and everybody else and tell them that, no, this is not just vacant property. This is already dedicated for open space and parks and whatnot. So we are up to date, we have been up to date, we're always up to date. As a matter of fact, Jim Fear property that we just bought was on that, the Sylvan Pool that we purchased was on that, so everything was up to date. The borough didn't miss anything or submit stuff late because something wasn't recorded.
Ms. McCluskey, sorry, do you prefer Mrs. McCluskey or Ms. McCluskey?
You can call me Sue.
Okay. So you headed up this committee, so I was curious, could you just tell me, like, is
Well,
that your
actually, I did
understanding?
not
she
head up
wasn't
the
there.
committee,
Oh, I'm sorry.
but I
who
was
the
on the
head?
committee.
Oh, okay, well,
Yeah.
could you tell me, I thought you were the chair, so I thought you had, I'm sorry, who was
No.
the head of the committee?
It was Dave Schultz.
Okay, I'm just trying to figure out, because my understanding from looking at it, and again, I think the things that are on there were park. Clearly Court Road is intended to be a park, but it hadn't been declared as that on our open space plan on the master.
Well, it has
Yeah,
been,
it has.
okay, and not only that, but we have to have a plan with the county. And all of these parcels were on with the county, okay? Because you have to have a, open space plan that's submitted to the county and they have to approve it.
So
It's the state, okay? They don't recognize these things, they don't look into them.
And as a matter of, not to interrupt, but as a
Yeah.
matter of fact, Sue was part of a committee that I asked to put together along with Liz, a couple of years prior, to any of our affordable stuff, to make sure that everything was complete, that what we had, the county had, and everybody who needed to have that information had it.
Yeah.
So when I looked at the Rossi list with the state, those lots were not on there. So
Well,
they
too
were never
bad. I
filed
mean,
with the,
no.
they were never filed with the state, they're only filed with the county, is that what it is?
I mean, really,
The-
the state, I mean, come on, they're a little,
The Rossi is behind.
yes.
Well, I think that when Mr. Dressler came, he said that there was a mistake and things hadn't been filed on the Rossi list. I think you were at that conversation,
Well,
right?
we actually updated the Rossi about 3 or 4 years ago, okay?
Mhm.
If the state didn't get it, I'm sorry.
My point is not to nitpick, my point is to make sure there's a process in place so this doesn't happen again, right? Because there were
Nothing
some.
happened though.
Nothing happened.
I think that's debatable, actually, but,
I don't think so.
What part of that
well,
is
the
debate?
lots that were supposed to be registered with the state open space weren't registered there, right? So there wasn't a process in place to check them to make sure that that had happened. So I'm just asking if the borough could, for the next round, next time, if we have any open space, I don't know if there's any left, if we could make sure that that was on.
Maybe Bill
was on
wants
there.
to chime in, I don't know. if
Sure.
they have
Yeah.
anything
No, this was
to
a
say.
2-year process we went
Yeah.
through with the committee. I don't think there was anything overlooked, and and the next one comes 10 years from now, so I don't think we need to put anything into place because we didn't miss anything, that's my opinion.
It would be my suggestion to the committee that they think about putting in some sort of open space check, because it looks to me like these lots were purchased in the 80s, and they were only declared as open space by amendment that this board passed at the last minute.
So I don't know exactly what lots you were talking about, but some of those lots were approved for, affordable housing, some is open space as well. So maybe that's what you were looking at, maybe there was some confusion in that.
I just think one of the reasons people move to Morris Plains is because of the great open space that we have, and I wanna make sure that it's protected. So if we could check on that, and make
all the
sure
open
that there's an
space-
additional layer of protection here.
It
I
is
think
all
that would be
registered
really-
with the county, it is all registered with the state.
So can you just explain to me my last question on this? If it was registered with the county, why did we have to pass an amendment declaring those lots open space?
I think, which amendments and which lots are you talking
There
about?
was a
We
master
did-
plan amendment that was passed, I believe, in February of 2025, that had like 78 lots. It's at the end of the affordable housing plan.
So was part of those like Jim Fear and that?
There were a
sort
whole bunch of
stuff?
lots on there, I mean, I don't remember all of them, right? There was like 78 different lots. But it was sort of, some of them were already on the state registry, some of them weren't. You guys passed it, I mean, you're looking at me.
Yeah, I don't.
It's at the end,
I-
there's that list of lots at the end.
Sure, absolutely.
The master plan is not what puts something on the Rossi or.
Rossi's with the state, right?
Please let me finish. You're talking about an amendment, and what you said is an amendment to the master plan.
Right.
The master plan is a document that this board does. This board does not impose restrictions. The borough buys property, gets something, the restriction goes on. an amendment to a master plan, master plans are a costly item that happens occasionally. And things get updated on the master plan where they talk about what properties should and shouldn't be developed and how they should be developed. It's just the big 40,000 foot area. It is not what restricts property. It is what talks about how maybe properties in the municipality should be developed. So adding to the master plan is not something that designated them or may put restrictions on. That doesn't do it. That's done on a different document, different process, different entities.
My understanding, perhaps it's incorrect since I'm new at this, is that there's an open space plan that is an addendum to the master plan that articulates which lots are open space in the borough, and that this board is in charge of declaring that. Am
But
I
again,
correct about
that is not what restricts them. That recognizes that they are restricted. So that is not what would notify that document is not what would notify the county or the state. They get notified otherwise. It also does, it's a secondary thing that on an ongoing basis, but it is not the thing that restricts the property or makes it open space or makes it restricted from activity. It's just this board, something different. It sets a master plan. It doesn't restrict properties. It identifies things that have happened. So it's a recognition of what had happened.
So how are the restrictions that council needs to pass the restrictions?
You don't pass the restrictions generally, when you purchase property with funds, if you list them as public property, if you get money from the county or the state, it's automatic by law. So it's automatic by law. You're now restricted Green Acres, and it is very, very difficult to then convert it to any type of other development. You can't. You have to pay 5 times the amount. You have to find other open space. You have to alternate. It's a difficult process.
Right.
There's also, it typically gets on Rossi and other things happen. Just by virtue of purchasing it and holding it out or getting public funds to purchase it, it is restricted. That's the restriction.
That's Green Acres funding that you're talking about, right? But if the borough has another lot that they purchased by themselves, and let's say it's municipal, and then they decide for whatever reason they want to declare it as parkland, they would have to register it with, and this is what my question is.
Getting
the
to a
county
whole
or
bunch
the
of,
state.
now you get into a whole bunch of hypotheticals, what may or may not happen, something could have
No, I don't
happened.
think I'm getting the hypotheticals, I'm just asking what the process is. If we buy land and it's not by deed included as open space, there must be a process for that.
Except what you started at with a premise, and I think people who have spoken have disagreed that there was a problem. And now.
Sounds like you're not answering my question, but thank you. I'll look into it further and I'll come back with some more questions. Because when I hear you start saying hypothetical, that means you don't want to answer the question.
No, not at all.
Well, can you just tell me what the process is? If the borough buys a lot and they want to declare it as open space, what's the process? Does the council declare it? Does the planning board declare it? Who declares it as open space?
Planning board
Because
does
not
not
all acreage that's open space is Green Acres acreage. That comes specifically from the state Green Acres funding, right? And there's a process for that. But if the borough buys its own lot and wants to declare it as open space, there's a different process for that.
And this board doesn't do that.
Okay, so the council declares it? Who declares it as open space?
Not this board. I'm
You don't know other than that? Okay, all right, I'll ask
But
you
the
at the council
county,
meeting.
if you get county funds, it's declared open space on the Rossi.
Right, so the lot on Mountain Way, I think, was county funding, so that was, right, if I'm correct, it was county.
Which
was it
lot on
county?
Mountain
The
Way?
lot that was recently purchased on Mountain Way was by county, for county open space funds? The one behind the church?
Yeah, that was county
Oh,
open
right.
space, yeah.
Right, but there's some lots included in there. All I'm trying to say is there's some lots that, this is why I'm saying, when you guys are saying nothing's missed. I think there's some lots that many iterations ago had been purchased, and they were never officially declared until that amendment that was done. So I'm just asking if, because I care so much about the open space, if we could make sure that there's some sort of layer of checking going on, to making sure that, because there's many different pipelines that are coming in here to the open space to declare that, it sounds like. So
Well,
I'm just
I was
asking
on the
what
committee
process.
with former Mayor Drexler, and I don't think there is anybody alive today that knows more about open space and dedicated properties and easements and all of that than he does.
Sure,
And we
yeah.
worked with Liz
He has a lot of
Leahy,
knowledge, no one would disagree with that.
and we went through every single lot, vacant, not vacant, every single thing. So it's up to date, okay? It's up to date now. And
I
back in
made
the
my point, I
eighties,
think.
back in the eighties, maybe, the whole thing in the early eighties, the whole process wasn't done to declare it open space, but it's,
Right.
nevertheless, what's on that list is open space.
At the heart of the question is, for the people, it looks bad to declare things as open space right before you hand in your affordable housing, in my opinion. It looks bad. So I think that we should, since those things have been open space for 30 years, they should have been declared open space long before the month before we handed in that. And now that it's done, I
But
didn't
I
say
don't
anything.
think there were
but now that it's
78
done-
properties that were not
Yeah.
included. There may have been one or two.
On the amendment list, there was, I believe there was, I don't know if the exact
It
number
might
is
have been
70,
an
but it was in the
amendment list
70s.
listing them all, but there were not 78
Well,
properties.
you can
that-
go, I'd be happy for you, I know you like to check things, so I'd be happy for you to check and you can
Okay,
tell me. if I'm
I will
wrong.
check on that.
So thank you, sorry to take your time, I appreciate it, thanks.
Are there any more questions from the public? Okay, then I'm gonna close that portion of the agenda. Committee reports, minor site committee, no updates,
Excuse me,
master plan
bills.
committee.
Mr. Bezel, bills? The bills have to be
It's
ready.
coming up,
Bills are coming.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Keep
I didn't
going,
get you.
John.
I didn't
John's
get you.
doing a fine job.
Yeah.
I didn't get there yet.
Yeah, you're right, you're doing good.
Yes.
You're doing fine.
She wants to go home, slow down.
Next.
I apologize.
Okay, then we're gonna close that portion. Correspondence and bills. Karen, are there any correspondence and bills?
No correspondence, but Mr. Wolf has some bills to pay.
We do have some bills. The first one is purchase order number 202-61255 from the 2nd of July from Phillips Priest Gragel for planning in the amount of $393.75. The second is number 202-61274 from the 7th of July for Anderson and Denzler for engineering services, the amount of $290.10. The third is number 202-61339 from the 16th of July for Marizini Falcon LLP for legal services in the amount of $945. The final one is number 202-61340 from the 16th of July, again from Marizini Falcon LLP for legal services, the amount of $5,512.50. I move that we approve payment for these bills.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Karen, roll call.
Okay. Mr. Wolf,
Yes.
Mr. Melchior,
Yes.
Mr. Bezel,
Yes.
Mrs. Stecker,
Yes.
Mr. Cianciata,
Yes.
Mr. Houston.
Yes.
Mayor Carr.
Yes.
Mrs. McCluskey, and
Yes.
Mr. Mayor Carr, you were the one who seconded, am I correct?
Yes.
Okay, we're gonna go into new business, 185 Tabor Road, building demolition. This is a review from the planning board in support of the construction office. This is not an application and not a public hearing. Each board member has received information regarding the demolition plan, but before I ask for any associated comments, I'd like to have the property owner give us an overview.
Hello.
Hello?
Let me start, as the board may know, this is the first time we've done this. Back in 2012, I think there was a demolition that was on a very large building, and people were surprised about it. So an ordinance was passed and said anytime there's a demolition permit for a building of 100,000 square feet or more, it gets referred to the board for its review and comment. This is kind of like this is a one-off. This hasn't been done, and I don't know there's gonna be one of these after this. It is probably akin, the best thing I could say is when you get a land use ordinance that you get referred by the governing body, and you look at it for, it just refers it to you for your comment on consistency with the master plan or any other thing. You don't approve it, you can't say no to it or yes to it. You can make recommendations and comments, and that's what this is. This board is, in planning for the master plan, other items, it's seen as having a certain level of expertise in certain issues, you know your town, and so you're supposed to listen, and if you have comments about this planned demolition, there'll be a resolution that refers it back and it provides your comments to the governing body. It is not a yes or no or approval, that's not what this is. Thank you.
Back to you.
So I'm Linda Early, from Riker Danzig on behalf of Tabor Road Owner LLC, not applicant, so we
demo permit applicants. I don't have anything really to add to that explanation. We are here because we've been referred. We've applied for a demolition permit for a building in excess of 100,000 square feet. I have Matt Welch of Langen Engineering, who prepared the demo plans and is familiar with the application here to answer any questions, discuss any part of the ordinance that you may have questions about. And I'm here to answer questions as well. We have an owner representative here as well that I don't intend to bring up, but we're here to answer your questions.
Can you just give us like a quick synopsis as to what's
Absolutely.
going on?
Yep.
Do you want me to, my
Do
thing? Do I get sworn in?
swear him in?
It's not, they don't have to believe him.
Oh.
They should believe him, but he's not under oath, they're not having findings in, or to, whatever, so.
Well, then try to tell the truth, okay?
I swear to try to tell the truth to the best of my ability. Matthew Welch, W-E-L-C-H, I'm an associate with Langen Engineering, located at 300 Kimball Drive in Parsippany. I'm a licensed engineer, although I don't think I get sworn in for this. I'm sure the board is very familiar. It's block 221, lot 2.011, 185 Tabor Road. It's a multi-story office building right next to the two industrial buildings that were recently constructed. The demolition includes the building itself, as well as the parking garage adjacent to it. The building area is roughly 213,000 square feet, which is why we are here. The parking garage is roughly 805 spaces. We do have our soil conservation certification dated July 14th, 2026. I believe Morris County SCD did provide a copy to the town, but we can of course provide a copy to your engineer for their records. Essentially, the LOD shown on the approved plans is roughly 8 acres. However, that includes the front parking area that we're generally looking to be maintained, both for visual and just for general soil stabilization. The approved plans also include a rough grading, so that way after the building and the garage are down, the demo contractor can rough grade it, generally maintain existing drainage patterns. It will then be stabilized. There are on the approved plans 2 sets of stabilization measures, one for short-term, one for long-term. The long-term includes topsoil and seeding. And the intention is after about the 3 months of demo that's anticipated, if, hey, maybe there's a future use for this site, it'll just be temporary stabilization. If there's no potential tenants in the future, it'll have that permanent stabilization measures. That way, as you drive by, you see a nice pad as opposed to lots of demolition materials.
Can you explain that again? When are we gonna see those different things happen?
So demos anticipated to take approximately 3 months.
3 months.
3 months.
Okay,
Yep.
and then what?
And then it will be stabilized and they'll demobilize from the site.
What do you mean by stabilized?
So basically in the final stabilization, the entire demolition area gets topsoil and seed. That way you see a nice seeded area.
But when
So,
will we see that?
at the end of that 3 months,
After the 3 months?
Yep.
And
After demolition.
after demolition.
somebody's gonna maintain that?
It'll be maintained by property management, yes.
Okay. And the whole parking lot in the front on Tabor Road's gonna stay?
This will stay, there might need to be some, just again, depending on like adjacent to the buildings, but generally the idea is that parking lot will stay in place. As well as the parking lot in the rear.
Are the road grades and sidewalks remaining, or is that all thrown in?
There's the emergency access road that goes along the rear of the building, that's remaining, that's outside of the limit of disturbance. There's also a fire loop that goes around the building, that's also remaining, as well as some utility stubs. Again, we wanna kinda keep this so that way, in the future, when there is a new use and we design the site for it, we kinda already have those utilities here, we don't have to go rip up roads to get them in. The front lawn is gonna stay, that front retaining wall is gonna stay, so when you drive by on Tabor Road, you'll see, at least the frontage will be, nice and pleasant.
You promise?
I can't promise, I'm not the one doing the work, I'm only the engineer.
But you're not under oath.
I'm not under oath, so.
That's true, so promise.
That is the intent.
So, can you tell
If
me
we
about
don't,
the stock?
Mr. Ryden will call the property owner.
Okay. The stockpile area, what's that for?
So during demolition, the concrete's gonna get crushed, temporarily stockpiled, and then it's gonna need to get removed from the site.
And it's gonna get crushed right on site?
It's gonna get crushed on site, yes.
Okay, that brings me to my next question. Dust remediation, like how we're gonna keep the dust down?
Yeah, so again, a lot of that is means and methods by the contractor. We dealt with this a lot during the construction of the adjacent industrial buildings, because we do have residents behind us that can be very sensitive, so,
And across the street.
and across the street. So I know during the construction of the industrial buildings, there was a lot of attention paid to keep it wet, keeping that dust from going off-site, and similar attention is gonna need to get paid during this process.
So who's gonna make sure?
No, not me.
No?
Not me, not this board, we don't have any jurisdiction here, this is solely with the construction official. And the means and methods, oversight and inspections are all in his jurisdiction.
Also, sorry.
That-
He
That's
has-
one of the things that you can comment
He
on.
has prescribed, rules and regulations that have to be followed by the contractors doing the demolition, and he has to ensure that those are followed. But that's not our business.
So that if I drive by during the day and there's dust all over the place, I have to go to the construction official and complain?
Call
So there's no way that can be put in a resolution somehow, some way?
We-
You can, this resolution doesn't limit them, but you can say you want to pay special attention to the dust mitigation. But it's not a yes or a no, it is, they've come and you are telling the governing body, actually, this is the governing body, your recommendations.
Also, we'll add, because we have Morris County Soil Conservation District certification, it will also be periodically inspecting the site to make sure that soil conservation measures are being made.
Okay, and obviously I know you were put on hold, but I did drive through the whole area on Sunday, and there's a lot of silt fences that are already down, so
Those all need to get repaired.
And they will, I'm assuming they will be?
They need to be, yes.
I know they need to be, I'm
Yeah.
just making sure they're gonna be.
Yes.
Okay, I do have other questions, but we can jump around, other people have questions. Bill, you have any questions?
Yeah, I had two things. One was the soil conservation certification, which we have been assured by the witness that's not under oath that we have. And we're gonna get a copy of it.
Yes.
We don't know any. The second is, soil moving and soil disturbance. So are you gonna be bringing in fill to fill in the basements? You're gonna be regrading and altering site elevations, those kind of things? If so, you'll need to apply to the council for soil disturbance.
Yeah, so the intent is to fill the basement with the crushed concrete from the building. And that'll basically be used to rough grade the site. The only thing that would need to be brought in under those final stabilization measures would be just that final topsoil.
Does that exceed 200 cubic yards?
I have not done any calculations
It
on it.
seems like it might. If it does, then we'll put that in our notes, that will require a soil disturbance permit.
Require what, I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Soil disturbance permit.
Gotcha.
That's all I have.
Anybody?
Can you share with us what aspects of the building made it economically not feasible to continue using? I'm just curious to see at what point the decision was made.
Yeah, I mean, I know that this building has been on the market for a long time, as I'm sure board's aware, the office market is challenging, and plus, I think the particular setup of this building, you really only confined it to a very narrow pad of users. And frankly, this building is very expensive to maintain. So, based on discussions with the property owner, it made more sense to spend the money to demolish it rather than continue to maintain it with really no prospect of being able to lease it out in the future.
And that decision was made with no prospect in mind in terms of what you anticipate putting in?
There's no plans for this site currently. So, yeah, I mean, normally when I do this, there are plans, but I think that shows the costs and the challenges in the market that's.
We're looking for contributions from more green acre land. If you want to donate it to the town.
So is the land gonna go up for sale?
There are no plans at this time, I mean, obviously they're looking for users, and I think once there is a user, then there would have to be a site plan application.
So I have questions around the water. I know on the plans, there's existing water lines that are remaining. I know you guys called out the fire hydrants.
Mhm.
I think they're all staying. Are you demolishing any of the fire hydrants?
No,
Look
they're
like
staying.
all staying. And are they just to make sure they're going to be active, like that water line is
Yes.
gonna be connected
Yes.
at all times?
Yeah,
Okay.
because that, it's important because it also feeds the loop for the rest of the campus, so, yes.
And then I have one other question regarding the tree line. I know you had tree fencing, but that tree fencing, I think, is only along the front part of the property
Correct.
and not along any of the sides. And I think there's a bunch more trees across the property, or at least I think that's how I interpreted the plan. So are those being demolished when the buildings and the parking garage, the building and the parking garage is coming
So
down?
anything internal,
Mhm.
we're anticipating will coming down, it's gonna be hard to maintain those with the buildings being demolished and kind of the regrading that would occur. Anything outside the limit of disturbance would be maintained, so anything along the frontage, and there was a bunch of trees in the rear, those will all stay. And then obviously anything off-site is gonna be impacted.
So I don't know how many, I guess one of the things I think about is that's gonna be pretty open space and the wind and all the stuff coming through there. I don't know how many trees are gonna be damaged by all that, but I was, we've done a pretty good job at taking trees down and then putting trees back in, so I don't know if there's any opportunity to do some replanting once the demolition is done. I think you said 3 months, I think the plan says 4 months, it takes us through probably the winter. So you're really talking maybe the spring of 2026 to be doing any sort of replacement. So,
Yeah, like I said, I'd be tentative to put anything internal to the site, cause really, hopefully in the near future, we'll have a use and we'll come back in for a site plan and those just need to get removed again. What I will say, I think what's pretty common with demolition activities is if anything outside of the LOE is damaged during demolition, those plantings will need to get
and
replaced.
I don't think you have any fencing up on my right side on those plans. I think the fencing is only on the front part, correct?
So right now I know there's a chain link fence around the entire site and there should be solar road.
Yeah, but not tree fencing. The tree fencing is only along the front part of the property.
Are there trees
Right.
on the right
I-
side?
There's no, well, I think there might be some, anything that's adjacent to this garage here inside the LOD, those are probably, I don't think those are gonna survive construction. Those are all inside the limit of disturbance.
Okay.
And again, I would expect that in the future, when there's a site plan application, obviously there would need to be a whole landscape plan to go along with it.
Those are the majority of them.
And obviously the asbestos has already been taken care of.
Yes, the utilities have been disconnected, the elevators have been, what's the term, decommissioned, so it's really ready to go.
And the debris, where's the debris gone?
So we have it's not on this plan, but on our soil erosion plan, we have a designated stockpile in the rear.
Stockpile, right?
Yeah.
But then it's gotta go off-site, where's it gonna go?
I don't know, I'm not the demo contractor.
So you don't know if he's taken it to the county transfer station?
I don't know the location.
So they'll probably take it down, recycle what they can, the metal.
Well, they're gonna recycle
all
what they
that
can,
kind
I'm
of
sure,
stuff,
but-
Yeah, he said the concrete goes into basements, I don't know what else. Interior demo.
Well, there's gotta
Like
be
it's
a
like
lot
a
of
step
drywall.
demolition then, you'll be doing
Yeah, there's all-
interior, yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta be drywall, drop ceilings, gotta be.
Yeah, dumpsters and whatnot, doesn't all come off of that.
Just thought it was mandatory that it had to go to the transfer station, but I don't know that for sure.
If there's rules that the demo contractors to follow, via there's demolition permits, obviously.
When do you anticipate starting?
As soon as the town says yes. So I guess after this goes back to council and council makes a motion, then we'll start.
Is there any other contamination on the property that you're aware of?
Not that I'm aware of, there's a couple monitoring wells that are being maintained, but no other contamination.
And no other tanks?
Not that I'm aware of. I won't be the first site that people start digging and found stuff, but nothing I'm aware of.
And what's the process if they do start digging, they do find stuff? What does that process look like?
Then usually our guys come out, take a look, see if it's something that's get reported.
So like environmental guys come out, take a look at it?
Yeah.
And that gets reported to environmental agency, all that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, thankfully, this isn't an old site, like, I've been involved in some older sites and
Yeah.
you never know what happens when you start that line. But thankfully, we're hoping, again, just the way the site's been maintained over the years, we don't find anything we're not
Sure, just being sensitive to the residents' concerns with current demolition that's happened in our town. Environmental conditions are of concern, so that's the reason I asked. Also, and I think you mentioned it with the soil disturbance permit, but during that, I'll say the warehouse construction, right, there was, and if you were involved, and I'm sure you're aware, there was a lot of concern from the residents behind there. I believe there was actually some remediation done during that part with the drainage, sewer drainage back into that area that's down there.
So that-
Busky's now in your head, I think she agrees with me on that.
they
so-
were-
Yeah, there were additional improvements done off-site to
Right.
improve the drainage.
Right.
Yep.
So I just, again, I know you mentioned it already, it's gonna be in the report, sorry?
That wasn't this building.
No, I know, it was adjacent to it.
Yeah, it was.
Correct, it was adjacent to it, but it's still, there's still a potential that it might impact the residents behind, this property, so, it just, you know, you've already stated that you're gonna be attentive to it, and I think the residents and the town appreciate that, so, thank you.
Anybody else? Okay. Looking where we at?
I prepared a resolution that had some generic things. I think that there was issues raised, concerns that the board might want, so I would, if you have the draft resolution that I sent around, I would propose that A, that they will comply with all regulations regarding dust limitation and mitigation, and D would be that a soil disturbance permit will be required if the demolition will involve the importation of more than 200 cubic yards of soil.
I would like to
But
add.
any other ones?
I would like to add in there just, on top of the construction official, that our borough engineers, would also be, attentive to the dust daily, what's taking place. Just conditions, site
Yeah.
conditions.
I would put that in the words, that borough engineer monitor dust and site conditions on a daily basis.
I don't think we should monitor, I can react to complaints or issues that come up, the construction official can
I'd like somebody
bring
to
me in.
drive by
I
every
can
day.
be involved with,
Bill, I'd like somebody to drive by every day,
every day,
yes, when they're working.
okay,
He wins.
that's what the mayor wants, that's what we do.
So if that's good, I'll read the resolutions, which we typically do, just so you have it, and I know what you wrote. Is that okay, Mr. Chairman? Resolution pursuant to Moore's Plains Code, section 23C-15.1, referral of application for demolition permit. Whereas Tabor Road LLC owner has submitted an application to the Moore's Plains Building Department for a demolition permit for the demolition of a building located on block 151, lot 2.01, in the borough of Morris Plains, the application. And whereas the building sought to be demolished is in excess of 100,000 square feet. And whereas pursuant to section 23C-15.1 of the code of the borough of Morris Plains, any application for a demolition permit for the total or partial demolition of a building in excess of 100,000 square feet in size shall be referred to the planning board for its review and recommendations prior to action on such application. And whereas owner appeared before the board on July 20th, 2026 to present its proposed demolition, and whereas the board considered plans and exhibits presented by the owner, testimony of its professionals, and the testimony of the board's engineer regarding the proposed demolition, now therefore be it resolved by the planning board of the borough of Morris Plains in the county of Morris and the state of New Jersey on the 20th day of July 2026 as follows. 1, the board finds and determines that the application for a demolition permit should be issued with the following conditions. A, applicant to comply with all regulations regarding dust limitation and mitigation. B, repair and replacement of any site improvements damaged as a result of such demolition. C, repair and replacement of any vegetation damaged or destroyed as a result of such demolition outside of the limit of disturbance. D, a soil disturbance permit will be required if more than 200 cubic yards of soil is to be imported. And E, the borough engineer shall monitor the dust and site conditions on a daily basis. 2, the board has no other comments or recommendations otherwise as to the application. 3, this resolution shall constitute the report of the planning board pursuant to section 23C-15.3C. And the board secretary is directed to deliver a certified copy hereof to the borough clerk within 5 days of the date hereof. 4, this resolution shall take effect as provided by law. There's changes, I'll provide these to Karen tomorrow, but that would be the resolution.
So is there any way we can put anything about a time period and debris not being left on the site?
You can put anything that you believe would be appropriate for the demolition.
Well, that's can you, that's appropriate.
So what would it be?
We already went through something in this town that we had a site that was just not cleaned up properly, and I don't wanna go through that again. I wanna make sure that.
I'm not fighting you in the least bit.
Huh?
I wanna know, I wanna put this into words. I'm not fighting it in the least bit here.
I mean, is anybody in agreement that?
Yeah, of course.
Well, it's hard to say, you said 3 months just after completion of demolition, the site shall be flattened and restored with topsoil, seed and hay, like what they said.
And that's what the engineer will check on and make sure that that's been done. I don't think we can put a date.
No, and I don't wanna be locked into a date, but I think it's gotta be
Just after
within
completion of demolition, it'll be.
within the 6 months to a year.
It depends on what time of the year they're gonna plant grass, seed,
Yeah.
during the winter time, so I think in a reasonable time frame.
I just feel if it's in here, then we're covered. If it's not, we're not covered.
Restored with the topsoil, seed and hay within a reasonable amount of time after completion of demolition.
And depending on the time of year or the weather or the whatever, yeah.
Not to
Yeah.
exceed 6 months after completion.
We'll try and word this.
You know what to put.
I don't know, you can even read that.
That's what his secretary says too.
I don't know how anybody can read it.
Excuse me, can I just say one thing? Would there be an escrow fee for the engineer that should be in there?
We cannot oppose that. That's something that the borough is gonna require, I think, for part of this. But, that's not something we can require. Upon completion, of the demolition, the limit of disturbance shall be covered with topsoil and seed to be, to be completed within, 3 months of, completion of demolition or reasonable time depending on weather and other circumstances. Does that work? That would be added to the other condition. Within 3 months, subject to weather and other conditions.
Can I ask a question about that one?
Absolutely.
Within 3 months?
Of the completion of the demolition.
Okay.
And the subject to would be based on seasonal.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
depending on.
So with that addition, that would be the resolution. Everything I read plus that.
Mr. Brewer, I do have just another question for you, just regarding the environmental side of things. Is there something that we could put in there as a conditional, related to environmental, like if they do find something, that they are, required to properly remediate whatever environmental hazard they find?
But any recommendation that you have, that's
Um,
appropriate. So I'm rolling around words in my head right now.
Okay, all right,
So give me another chance. here.
sure, no problem. I was gonna wait till you're done writing, so.
Okay, how about, if any environmental contamination is discovered during demolition, applicant shall take all required steps to notify the applicable officials, investigate and remediate same in conformance with state law.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, then I guess I'll make a motion to approve the resolution tonight with the updates. Is there a second?
A second?
Roll call?
Mr. Wolf?
Yes.
Mr. Melchior?
Yes.
Mr. Bezel?
Yes.
Mrs. Shepherd?
Yes.
Mr. Sanciata?
Yes.
Mr. Houston?
Yes.
Mayor Carr?
Yes.
Mrs. McCluskey?
Yes.
Thank you very much for your
I'll
time.
have to make those changes,
Yep.
they'll be in tomorrow sometime, well, the next day, it'll be in the
Appreciate it, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Longer than your last meeting,
Huh?
This is longer than your last meeting, though, so.
Hang on, let me stop.
No, you
Don't make me use this.
Please hit me in the
I
head.
thought you were gonna use it before, but
So Mike, I just wanna read what Michael wrote here, just to make sure it's on record. Mr. Brewer will update and complete the resolution and make available within 48 hours. I asked the board secretary to send a letter with the resolution to the borough clerk for the borough council as stated in ordinance 23C-15.1, 15.2, and 15.3, titled Uniform Construction Code.
Gave me more time than I was going.
Yeah, he said 24 hours, you got another whole day.
There you go, Mike.
We still have a whole business, and that whole application's gonna take another 3 hours probably. So I do have a question as long as we're on the business stuff. What's going on with the M&M property? Like, it's also a mess over there, and is there anything we can do about that?
Like, they've been approved for their latest, they came in to the board here for aesthetics, they told us in the springtime.
In
they were
February,
supposed to have to come in for a permit.
Right, but there's no open permit on that property, from what I understand.
Right, they have to come in for a new permit.
Right, so, but are they allowed to keep their fences and keep their trailers and keep their materials?
I think that's maybe a good question, but that's, that's their property, so.
If it's up and they were permitted to put them up in the first place, I looked at it extensively, but I would assume so.
Because everything I read online says that they're not allowed to on a commercial property.
unfortunately, the people that are commenting online don't know what they're talking about.
No, I mean online with the DCA in Trent.
They have 10 years to complete their development.
So
10
then
years
that's
from
like-
2018.
So then we have no control over what that site looks like.
I mean, we've asked them,
Yeah,
first of all, to
some.
plant trees over there, we asked them to plant the grass over there.
I know the
We
berm
did
looks
clean
awful.
up, we did clean up, they did clean up quite a bit. I don't know, Bill did.
Yeah, we did, we were on them for certain things, they had to fix some manholes in the roads and clean up some debris, but it's very minor, and they consider it an active construction site, so those kind of things are part of the construction site. And
Because all those-
They're really stretching the definition of active construction site, but that's what they consider.
Because the main road in for all those townhomes is still not final pay.
We've asked them numerous times, and really, I mean, that's all we can do is ask them to do that.
We have, many times.
Many times, and, they're not gonna do that and then tear it back up again and have to redo it for me, because the rest of the units.
It's really horrible.
Do they really want it in 2028? I have to go through it again in 2028 when it's been 10 years?
I don't have the answer to that question, that's an Andy
Might have been a
question.
resolution, I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm not-
It's
That
18
was
months
the
away.
agreement
We're
when-
coming up.
2028.
Right. Right. 18 months, a year and a half.
But what's classified as an active building site?
I don't have that definition.
Andy, come on, help us out.
That's-
Well, because as far as I'm concerned, it's not an active building site. They don't have a permit.
Typically, what we do here is not define that, that is one step past the borough. I'll get you that answer, I don't have that in front of me, if you see me, I like to give opinions, but I don't have that one, I'm not gonna make it up. I can give you the answer, I don't have that anymore.
Okay. All right. So then we're gonna go on to old business. And that is the revised application. So I don't know if Bill wants to update us, but.
I mean, I sent out, so, sure, you know, I took the comments that were made in, June's meeting, I revised the process, I sent them over to Karen, I asked her to send them out to the board, and I asked for comments by July 8th, which I received none from this board, and that's where we stand.
I don't think that but I don't think that the zoning board met last month to do this.
So,
For
I
their
did,
comments.
I did get comments from the zoning board.
What are
Those comments would be, mainly their comment had to do with, requiring, let's see, I gotta find it here. It said, they don't want to have a statement that says, that they must appear during the hearing, because it's up to their board's discretion, whether or not they're gonna require, during the hearing, hang on, I gotta find it here. I don't know, Mr. Stanziata, if you remember.
I see that it's on this second
On page 2.
application and hearing process brief summary. And I agree with that, but I would put in there, must attend meeting or respond in writing. This is on the checklist.
So I did have a conversation with Karen about this subject. And if you feel comfortable, I'd like you to explain this maybe to everybody, what we've talked about coming to the meeting.
All right, this is my experience and my opinion, as I can say. All I can say is that you have an application that comes before the board. Sometimes they're commercial, sometimes they're an applicant or resident of the town. Now, if the professionals with the commercial one turn around and they recommend that it's incomplete,
The borough officials.
yes, the borough officials, the professionals for the board, if they recommend that it's incomplete, more than likely they'll call the professional, talk to them, and also they will come to the meeting if they have a different opinion than what the professionals state. So any way you look at it, the commercial, usually it's always an attorney, will attend the meeting for completeness. And it's up to them also. If they feel that they're totally incomplete, they may not come. Now, it's a resident, it's the same exact thing. Usually they'll have someone representing them, or maybe they'll do it themselves. But if they get every letter, that the recommendations of every professional. And if they feel that they can go and give their opinion on the disagreement of what the professionals have said, they'll come to the meeting, they'll call me. But my opinion is, I don't think it's necessary at all for completeness. I agree totally with the Board of Adjustment. It's up to the individual. It's not something, but that's my opinion, and, you know, you asked, so, I don't know if you have any.
No, so
It
like,
has never been, never have we had mandatory that you have in writing, or if you have come, an attorney or the applicant must be there for completeness. We've never had that,
you
never.
know what's gonna happen next month, Karen, don't you? You know what's gonna happen. So anyway, my whole thing with having somebody there was, we've had several instances here where you've had to go back and forth with the applicant, you know, whatever Bill or Liz or whatever, you know, writes as their recommendation or whatever, or waivers and all that kind of stuff. So I think what you've said has made better sense to me than a different way of looking at it, I'll say.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, I don't know, Mr. Ryden, do you?
But is there an acknowledgement, like Sue just mentioned, is there an acknowledgement from their professionals or the applicant themselves that, that, or they understand what you say, or they understand the procedure.
I don't think it's necessary. I think the way it's being done now is the right way to do it. If they don't wanna come in and discuss the matters, and then they take what the board comes up with, or they get carried again. So that's their peril, whether they show up or not. So it's not putting us in any risk that they don't come.
So that was really another one of my concerns, is having an application delayed another month or whatever because of somebody either not knowing or, not coming just because, and more than likely it wouldn't happen with a larger application. This is probably more so of an individual or a homeowner or something along those lines who may not know, right? And wouldn't wanna get delayed putting their pool in for the summertime, but we'd rather them join the community park pool anyway.
As I said, Jason, Mayor, everybody gets the letters. They read the letters. If you're an applicant and they're actually representing themselves, they've read the letter.
Okay.
If they have a question, they may directly call Mr. Ryden or Liz. Or they'll call me, they'll say something, and I will direct them to talk to the proper town professional if they have a question about completeness. And then if they disagree totally, they will come to the board. If not, they agree, because the professionals only recommend. You're the ones that deem it complete. So if they agree with them and they feel it's unnecessary, it's costly. It's costly for the applicant to come in and for you to deem them incomplete. I mean, this is just my opinion.
Yeah, no, and I think that made a lot of sense, and it made me think that these other steps are in place now, so I lighten up on that.
Well, I'm wondering if we might say the applicant professionals may or may not attend the meeting or respond in writing.
That's right, and I think that's some of
That's-
the language you.
That is exactly the language that the zoning board of adjustment has requested that be put in it.
Okay.
I just remind you that we're talking about the zoning board of adjustment variance application checklist. Unless I'm mistaken, I don't believe the planning board has anything to do with the variance application checklist. Am I wrong in that?
I don't think so.
The planning board has not, so this board has nothing to do with the variance application checklist. Okay, so then it's the recommendation of the zoning board, that to be in, congruence with their bylaws, that the statement is made, as Ms. McCluskey recommended, that the applicant's professionals may or may not attend the meeting. And that is what they have recommended, the language be changed in. So,
One other thing that you've left out, even though we've talked about it many times, Bill, is no public comment on completeness hearing. And that's on all of them. We talked about that at the last meeting. Because you've laid out when there can be public comment, that kind of thing, but there's no public comment on completeness.
You have step 6, public hearing,
right.
but that's,
Yeah,
but nothing on completeness.
it would be under number 2.
2,
Yeah.
If I may, I can answer that a little bit. Usually what happens at a completeness hearing, if they're gonna say something about public hearing, usually the attorney for the board will mention and say, this is just the completeness, it's not a public hearing, there is no comments or anything that could be
But
made.
it should be in here. It should specify in here.
Yeah,
That-
that's not a big deal.
Yeah, it's not a big deal. No public comment at the completeness hearing.
I mean, that's a hard and fast rule, Or that's a decision by the board made at the time of the?
No, that's, you don't have we don't have public comment on completeness. You have public comment at the meeting, but not on this specific, the public doesn't get to talk to everybody about.
The application hasn't been approved yet, so there's no need for comment,
Right.
right?
But,
No, yeah, the application's not approved yet, so there's no comment necessary.
Right.
but you're trying to specify and let people know,
Yeah.
okay? So just put it in there.
Well, maybe it just requires a little explanation, say, no public comment at this because this is just the completeness hearing.
Yeah, but the
Yeah.
public
Yeah, 'cause I
would
think
know
we just
about it
read-
because there hasn't been a public notice yet.
But they come to the meeting.
But how do they know about the application?
What's on
Well,
agenda?
Yeah.
Yeah, and if the applicant itself,
Yeah.
and let's say it's a homeowner, and they haven't done this before, they don't maybe have.
We're just trying to increase transparency here, so.
I know,
That's right, I think if you just write no public comment, there's,
At
well,
this-
why no public comment,
No,
but
no.
no public comment
For
at this
complete-
time
At the
because of
completeness hearing,
completeness,
yes.
then it's understandable.
Yeah.
They just need that spelled out.
yeah.
But it does say also on our agenda, you know, public comment is for anything else
Right.
besides what's on there. but you
That's on
can
the agenda,
spell-
yeah.
Correct.
Spell it out.
Yeah, it's a little redundant,
You
but
can
that's
spell,
okay.
no, yeah.
We can spell it out. Not a problem. Okay, we can add that.
I
Any
have
other?
another one,
Sure.
same packet.
Wait, which
Mark.
packet are you on?
Zoning board?
Planning board, zoning board of adjustment, subdivision application checklist cover
Okay.
sheet guide. And so we're back to page 5. Morris Plains Planning Board or zoning board of adjustment application for subdivision site plan review. So go down a few, we did checklist plans, plan scale shall be such that all information and details are clear and legible. But in no case shall the scale be smaller than 1 inch equals 50 feet, or 1 inch equals 1/8 inch?
Yes,
What?
that's architectural scale.
That's architectural scale.
Those are industry standards, those scales.
So we discussed this last time, and Mr. Ryan said the same thing. So that's why that's in there.
Okay. Bill, do you remember, maybe, no, you weren't here, it was Leon, yeah.
I think that was the 16th or something, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
they had asked permission to, make the plan smaller, yeah, yeah.
I think the one change that, the front, we were gonna put the revision date on the applications and the footers, I think. I didn't know if it got cut off.
Oh, sure.
Or not.
Yeah, that's easy to do, no problem.
So we know
Can
which
add
is
that
the
in.
latest version.
I got the page numbers on there for you.
Yep.
We can put the revision dates on it, not a problem. Yep. Anything else?
I just wanna make sure that Karen is comfortable with the number of plans and all that. Karen?
Okay, they were gonna go over that with me. I think we should keep it the way it is, 19 and 1 original, but I don't know exactly how this is all gonna be online, am I correct?
Not all of it, no. The intent, yes, is
But the
that.
guidelines would be different, folks, right?
Guidelines?
Yeah, the guidelines, the whole package will be available electronically, I'll say, right? But there's also, what we don't currently have is an allowance for, if somebody wanted to submit it electronically, there is no current allowance for that, right? This adds that in there, right, and also reduces some of the paper there, but we still do require hard copy plans. So that's still a requirement.
But the number hasn't changed, she's concerned with the number.
But it has.
It has, because we were, because it's number one, expensive to print out all those plans. And number two, a lot of times, the plans are available digitally. So it's easier to see them that way. But we still do have the hard copy version of plans. It's gone to, so it's 324 by, the subdivision site plan review on page 5, right? It's 324 by 36, sealed original 2 copies for minor subdivisions, 6 24 by 36, sealed in 5 copies for major subdivisions, and 10 11 by 17, and a PDF version of all plans
Wait, why have 3?
for minor subdivisions.
I think you were gonna change the 3 to a 4, because the 3 was for the professionals, am I correct?
That's,
And
that
I
sounds
need
right.
a big copy also, so a big copy should be in the
Okay,
office.
so we
Okay, so that I know that was gonna be, I thought was gonna be changed.
so 4 24 by 36, sealed original in 3 copies for minor subdivisions. That's what you're,
Say that again, sir?
4 24 by 36,
Correct,
which is 1 sealed original in 3 copies
right.
for minor subdivisions or site plans. Okay. No problem, that's easy to do.
So that the board will not get.
So just let me,
Yeah.
that's where I really wanted to say is if you don't require a hard copy, then it's the onus of the borough to make the copies for everybody else instead of having them already here. So then that's an expense for the borough, which we should not incur. It should come from the applicant. Whether that's 19 or 10 or 12 or whatever the number is, there's no reason that the borough should incur those costs if somebody here wants hard.
Well, so you do get hard copies. There's 10 11 by 17 hard copies that are included.
But I don't know if that's enough, is what I'm saying. And
But there's-
the borough should not incur those costs. So maybe 19 is too many, maybe whatever
Well,
you're
that-
saying is not enough. I'm just,
I mean, we've gone back and forth on this multiple times over multiple months. These are the numbers we came up with because there are 9 planning board members, right, plus the attorney. So 10 sets of plans and 11 by 17 satisfies that requirement, plus the larger format versions.
Oh, no, but you see, you're forgetting, a copy goes to the zoning officer, a copy will go to the police chief, a copy, so that's why there's 19 copies. Because there's many more people that get a copy of it.
And again, the part of this was to reduce the amount of paperwork so that they can elect to get them electronically. You know, I mean, if the rest of the board feels like we should go back to increasing it to 19, if that's what the rest of the board wants to do, then
Is
we
this
can
24 by
change that.
36? This is what I want.
Yeah.
Sorry,
yeah,
but this
but
is
that's
what,
the board is covered, it's the extra ones for the
but for all
police,
of
the
the
fire.
plan, this is not 24
No,
by
but
36.
with the copies that he has here, the boards are covered with that. Police is not covered, the fire department's not covered, zoning's
This
not
is
covered.
not, this is 24 by 36.
I think he's talking, you're talking about,
Sue's talking size, we're talking quantity.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yep, correct.
I mean, everybody on the planning board should get this size.
I think that's what we're talking, but the number of copies that we're.
No, we're saying, it says there's 10 sets of right, so there's 11 by 17, which, I don't know, 11 by 17.
That's not 11 by 17.
No, small.
No, that's 24 by 36. So
Right.
the way it reads is there's 4 now, 24 by 36, the large format plans, a sealed original in 3 copies for minor subdivisions. There's 6 of those, sealed original in 5 copies for major subdivisions or site plans. And there's 10 sets, 11 by 17, and a PDF version of all plans emailed to the board secretary. That's how it reads.
I want this.
I think those smaller
Sorry.
versions are really hard to read though. When you, I mean, even on for the Rivian one, and they had the big ones, there were numbers on there that none of us could read on some of that stuff. I get it's a valiant effort to like try to reduce this kind of stuff, but I think for these plans, I think we really do need the bigger versions.
It's up to the board.
But that's just,
I mean,
Why don't
Mr.
we
Ryan.
why don't we go to a dozen on the 24 by 36?
Okay,
Okay, and then this is in the application, is that right?
correct.
Okay. The application is not a codified document, where that can change next month at the board's discretion. The only codified document is the checklist. So that, those administrative procedures, the application forms, that's all administrative. We can change that any day of the week at the board's discretion. So let's start out with the 12, see how that works out. If it seems like it's an excess, we'll cut it back. Or if it's not enough, we'll raise it. And by the way, even if we have that set at 12 and Karen needs more copies, they're gonna give us more copies. There's no
13.
way around it.
I know those of us that have had some experience with this have found that the smaller,
Yeah, the big ones.
you lose, some details, and we had a bad experience with that.
Some plans work, but most of the detailed site plans don't work at that scale.
Right.
I can't review it at that scale, right? So,
Yeah.
24 by 36, let's go to 12, that's one of
Karen
my
has a
things.
comment
Why
first.
don't you, I just feel that we even had, like, sometimes Harold Motes needs a copy of it.
Well, that's
That's
fine.
what he said, then
When
you
we're
call
not-
up, you get another copy.
Yeah.
But there's also, they're also gonna email in a PDF, so that can be sent around
Correct.
if needed, zoomed into.
Correct? Absolutely.
Yeah, but, you know, I print it out and I can only do a legal size.
No, fair, if you're printing it out, yeah, but, you know, that was maybe gonna be one of my comments, is if it's, especially if we're talking major site plan, could we say it has to be a vector file that can be, you know, zoomed without any loss of resolution?
That's a little too complicated.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Well, that's why I said only major, where it'd be professionals doing it, but.
I understand your point, you know, if
To try to
software
optimize.
changes or that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
right, I don't wanna be locked into that, so that's why I
Fair.
think that we do it, but, and by the way, for major subdivisions, we're requiring 6, not 3, but,
Go
you
to
know,
12 on all of it.
right, so what Mr. Wright's suggestion is doing 12, 12 copies, which would be,
Did you say 13?
I said 13 or 14, for the simple reason, I'm not getting a copy if it's 12. Do you understand? It would only be the 3 professionals and the board
Well, you have to
members.
plead, you have to plead to Mr. Houston.
I'll just do 20 copies of everything, call it that.
No,
that's where we were.
Yeah, but
Let's
that's-
take 15.
You're
Take
talking-
it 15, we'll try 15, and we'll go from there. That's
Yeah.
all.
And if we need more, yeah.
15 is fine, that
15.
gives Karen hers, it gives
All right,
Harold
so
Motes.
15 copies and the balance to the, will be smaller version, okay?
Correct.
And PDF. A lot of, some people
Yes,
look
that's-
at my PDF.
I don't like it.
Oh, well, that's,
I don't know, you're-
some people won't do anything, won't look
I
at
can't
paper
move the
anymore.
thing around and know where you are on the whole.
The young people don't want to.
And I like to take the plans with me to the site.
No, there's no question about it.
Alright, so 15 plans, 24 by 36, for both minor and major subdivisions. Alright, so we're agreeing to?
Yep.
Yes.
Excellent. And then we're still doing 10 sets of plans and 11 by 17, for those of us that like the smaller versions. That's alright with everybody?
Until next month, then
Until-
we'll drop it back
No,
down to 12.
this is, we're done with this, and
This is
gonna
going
go-
through, we're gonna do this?
Oh, we gotta
We've
see,
been-
we gotta
we've been
make
back and
sure
forth.
that these changes are made.
Ms. McCluskey, with respect, I've sent this out multiple times. I've also emailed it last time, I got 0 comments from the board. So I'm happy to make these changes, I'm happy to
Just
email them
circulate,
out,
that's all.
but I do not want to keep kicking this can down the road. I think we've done this
I think
enough.
we're at the end, just circulate the.
Okay.
Circulate the final one, and if we
Absolutely.
have more comments, we will.
No problem there.
And I would request,
So then we're not gonna make a motion on this time.
I would request that we, when the final version is sent out, which I will do shortly after this meeting, that if there are no comments prior to the next planning board meeting, that's the final version of it. Okay,
I agree with that.
okay,
Okay.
okay. So if I don't receive any comments prior to the next planning board meeting, we're done.
Okay.
Excellent.
You'll get this
There's
out in the
gonna be
next.
no argument in August though, if somebody says, oh, by the way, I didn't get a chance to.
No, I mean, if something administratively has to be changed, we can do that, but.
Yeah.
If somebody sees something that jumps up, I'm sure.
Well, I mean, but-
Change, This is, the bulk of everything is here.
We've been through all this
Yeah, well, it should be.
multiple times.
Well, it takes multiple
It
times.
does take, and there's no rush.
There's no
I mean,
problem
it's-
with that.
Yeah.
I don't disagree. I also don't, I agree with you that there doesn't need to be a rush, but we've been working on this for a year and a half. So we haven't been rushing this thing.
You know, Bill, we have been working on, master plan and that kind of thing sometimes takes a year, 2 years, 3 years, so,
And I appreciate the work of this board
It's a large
and the zoning board in doing all this. It is a Herculean effort to get to this point. So I appreciate everybody's comments. So that'll be it then. We'll get the final comments and be done with it. Excellent.
Everybody's happy,
Yes, thank you very much.
especially Karen. You-
yes, yes.
I will.
Most importantly, Karen.
Yes,
No,
I got a nice place.
Actually,
Don't change it now, Karen.
Right.
Stick to your guns.
All right, let's go.
all right.
Oh,
World Cup
now
is-
all of a sudden.
World Cup is on, let's go.
Oh, it's over?
Oh.
My bad.
Oh, wow.
Something must be on.
Okay, the next scheduled planning board meeting will be August
Wait,
17,
wait,
2026.
I have one more thing.
What?
Would you be disappointed if I didn't have one more thing? There's
Well,
a
I
public
would-
notice, the Borough of Morris Plains in accordance with, public notice of the Borough of Morris Plains in accordance with National Flood Insurance Program Regulations 65.7B1 hereby give notice to their intent to revise the flood hazard information generally located between New Jersey State Highway Route 10 and Grannis Avenue along the Watnong Brook. The flood, and this is a whole legal notice, and it says that, the flood hazard, the floodway will be revised from approximately 2,825 feet downstream of New Jersey State Highway Route 10 to approximately 125 feet upstream of Grannis Avenue along the Watnong Brook. And the floodway will increase and decrease within the revised area. Base flood elevations will increase and decrease along the Watnong Brook. Special flood hazard area will increase and decrease along Watnong Brook. Maps and detailed analysis of post-construction flood hazard revisions can be reviewed at the Morris Plains Municipal Offices. If you have any questions or concerns about the proposed project or its effect on your property, you may contact William Ryden. So I wondered if he would, Mr. Ryden will talk to us about this.
Well, I haven't seen that notice. I've not seen that notice, so I don't know how much I can
It was
talk
in the
about.
Newsbee, last week's Newsbee.
I did not see it. But the estate has modified and updated the flood mapping for Morris Plains as they did for the whole county. And that newest version is being published and gonna be adopted by DEP as the new maps. We, the borough, have to put in place, and I talked to Mr. Houston about this, earlier this year. We have to put in place a whole new stormwater ordinance to reflect all those changes. So that's about all I can say for you right here.
So you don't know about this?
That's right.
Okay,
Well, I know about the whole flood mapping revision by the state, as I just said, for Morris Plains and the rest of the county.
And then you've had meetings up with FEMA, I believe it was, up at the police academy with all the revisions and your input as well.
Correct.
To that, so.
well, do you want this so that if anybody calls you,
You certainly, I'll take that, sure.
I can just give it to you?
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Okay, now I'm done.
Are you sure?
Promise.
Okay then. Next scheduled planning board meeting will be August 17, 2026, council chambers right here. I motion to adjourn tonight's meeting.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye. Who's second?
Opposed?
Enjoy the rest of your summer.